Chapter 1, June 26 and 27. The Battle of Gettysburg started on July 1, 1863. You're looking at an animated map covering June 26 and 27, running in a loop, 4 days before the battle started, more or less. And the two armies are so scattered, I've had to zoom the map out so far that the icons representing units are so small, I'm guessing you can barely see them. These two armies are scattered across 3 states. They started in Virginia, crossed Maryland, and now they're moving into Pennsylvania. Moving into Pennsylvania, but both armies still have units in Virginia. The Union Army is the black icons, concentrated bottom center on the screen. And they're following the Confederate Army, the red icons, upper left on the screen. The line running left to right is the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. Baltimore is lower right. The Potomac River is the twisty line on the lower left. Gettysburg is the road junction here, just above the center of the screen. And to give you an idea of scale, it's about 50 miles, as the crow flies, from Gettysburg to Baltimore. Hagerstown and Chambersburg are the 2 big road junctions on the left side, and South Mountain runs down the middle. The armies were scattered. Indeed, on the morning of July 1, when the battle started, it was a small fraction of the 2 armies that was available to fight. See this pie chart showing you who was fighting on the Union side at 9 a.m. on July 1. Total army size was 93,921. On the field, they had 2,823. A cavalry division composed of 2 brigades and a single artillery battery. The numbers I'm using are from Philip Lano's masterpiece, Gettysburg Campaign Atlas, and I recognize that these numbers seem suspiciously precise. Take the numbers with as many grains of salt as you choose. They're the best numbers we have. Same thing with the times. Back then, how many people really knew what time it was? I don't think timepieces were that accurate. It's the 19th century we're talking about. They fought duels and carried swords. Things were different. And see this pie chart for the Confederate side, 9 a.m. on July 1. Total Confederate army size was 71,699. On the field, they had 3,877, 2 infantry brigades, and a battalion of artillery. Neither of the commanding generals wanted a big fight at Gettysburg on July 1, but the battlefield commanders, on the spot, decided to go. Right there, right then. Remember those 2 pie charts. Every commander that came onto the field after them, bringing more troops, endorsed the decision to fight. Right there, right then. This was a problem and an opportunity for the 2 army commanders. The side that gets troops to the battlefield faster will have a big advantage. As Nathan Bedford Forrest is quoted, "Get there first with the most men." Look again at the animation for June 26 and 27. Neither army was especially close to Gettysburg. There's a Confederate division that passes by Gettysburg. That's Early's division, and they're on their way to York. Look at Union movements for the 26th and 27th, running in a loop. The Potomac River's on the lower left. See Harper's Ferry and Frederick, Maryland, more or less in the center. North of the river is Maryland. South of the river is Virginia. The Union Army is crossing the last of their units north across the Potomac at Edwards Ferry. General Hooker and his army are chasing the Confederate Army, moving pretty much straight north, staying between Lee's army and the 2 big northern cities, Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. General Hooker lost the confidence of his bosses. General Hooker lost a major battle earlier in the spring at Chancellorsville, and then picked a fight with his bosses, and then resigned. On the night of June 27, Hooker's bosses accepted his resignation and found a new guy. Or they fired Hooker and found a new guy. Pick one. A conference was held at the War Department, and Major General George Meade was chosen to take over as Army commander. A Lieutenant Colonel, James Hardee, was called in to carry the message to Generals Hooker and Meade. Hardee, dressed in civilian clothes, and traveled by train to Army headquarters at Frederick, Maryland, arriving early in the morning on the 28th. As of the very early morning on June 28, Robert E. Lee became General Meade's problem. See here a loop that shows Confederate movements on the 26th and 27th. South Mountain runs down the center of the map. The Cumberland Valley is on the left, the west side of the mountain. Chambersburg is the road junction on the center left. Gettysburg is the road junction east across the mountain in the center. The Pennsylvania state capital, Harrisburg, is top right, and the Susquehanna River. Carlisle and York are the road junctions on the upper right. See Ewell's Corps to the north. 3 divisions of infantry. 2 divisions moving northeast to Carlisle. Early's division moving east past Gettysburg to York. Ewell's main task was to collect supplies for the army, but there was more. The move to the east was partly a feint. Sending Ewell's Corps to the east would confuse the enemy and induce him to follow, away from Lee's line of communications back to Virginia. Lee's line of communications lay in the valley on the west side of South Mountain. Lee also told General Ewell, "If Harrisburg comes within your means, capture it," unquote. Harrisburg is the state capital to the northeast. A threat against Harrisburg would increase the pressure on General Hooker to chase Lee into Pennsylvania, so Ewell headed north and then east, collecting supplies and threatening the Pennsylvania state capital at Harrisburg. Lee hoped to lure the enemy into Pennsylvania for a battle, and meanwhile his army was collecting supplies, and every day they remained in Pennsylvania caused political harm and pain to the Lincoln administration. Look at this map, which shows where units for both armies moved on June 27, which was General Hooker's last day in command of the Union Army. The Potomac River is down here, Gettysburg is up here. The Union Army is at the bottom. Red arrows are Union Infantry Corps, blue arrows are cavalry divisions. The arrows show where the units went, straight lines from start to finish. The arrows do not show the paths followed, start to end only. And I think the story here is simple. The Union Army is across the Potomac on the 27th, moving pretty much due north, chasing the Confederate Army. The Confederate Army is at the top. Black arrows are Confederate infantry divisions. The green arrow is a cavalry brigade that was attached to Ewell's Corps. And see Ewell's Corps moving northeast toward Harrisburg and the Susquehanna River. To the south, you see the other 2 corps, Hill's and Longstreet's, moving north to Chambersburg. And let's add in the previous day, June 26, and compare the two. And I think this just confirms the picture. 1. Hooker's army moving north following Lee's army. On the 26th, the Union Army was busy crossing the Potomac. And 2, to the north, see Ewell moving east and northeast, while Hill and Longstreet's corps move up the Cumberland Valley toward Chambersburg. Next, Chapter 2, June 28, Meade's first day in command.